The paradox of modern attraction is that we try to win people over by being as available as possible, yet we only truly value what feels rare and significant. If you want to understand why she isn't missing you, you have to understand the difference between being a constant presence and being a significant one. Most men approach the woman they like with a scarcity mindset. They believe that if they aren't constantly in her line of sight, her inbox, or her thoughts via a constant stream of memes and "how is your day" texts, they will be forgotten. They treat attraction like a fire that needs to be constantly fed with twigs, never realizing that they are actually smothering the oxygen that allows a fire to breathe. Genuine emotional longing is not an act of will, it is a physiological response to the removal of something valuable. If you are never gone, you can never be removed. If you are never significant when you are there, your removal means nothing. This is the brutal truth of the matter. Absence only works if presence was worth having in the first place. This script is about the fundamental shift from being a man who seeks attention to being a man who commands it through the quality of his character and the intentionality of his actions. We are going to deconstruct 5 specific, high-value masculine traits that create a magnetic pull so strong that your absence becomes a tangible, felt reality for her. We are moving away from the games, the red pill tactics, and the manipulative ghosting and moving toward a psychological understanding of human desire. Let's address the first fundamental shift you must make, which concerns the quality of your presence. Most men are physically present but psychologically fragmented. They are with a woman on a date, yet they are checking the score of the game, thinking about a work project, or, most commonly, stuck in their own heads wondering if she likes them. This fragmentation is felt. It creates a thin experience. When you are with someone and they are only 60% there, you don't feel seen and you don't feel a connection. Therefore, when they leave, there is no void to fill. The first pillar of creating longing is what I call radical presence. This is the ability to lock in so completely that for the duration of your interaction, the rest of the world ceases to exist. Think about the last time someone looked at you with such intensity and listened with such intent that you felt like the only person in the room. That feeling is rare. In a world of infinite digital distractions, undivided attention has become the new luxury good. When you provide that, you are leaving an emotional imprint. You are creating a high-definition memory. Consider a man named Julian. Julian was charming, but his real power was his focus. When he took a woman out, his phone stayed in the car. He didn't just hear her words, he watched her eyes. He noted the change in her tone when she spoke about her childhood, and he asked questions that went 3 layers deep. He wasn't performing, he was genuinely investigating the human being in front of him. When Julian left, the silence in his wake was deafening. The woman didn't just miss Julian. She missed the way she felt when she was under the heat of his concentrated attention. She missed being seen at that level of resolution. To make a woman miss you, you must first give her a version of you that is worth missing, a version that is so vivid and focused that everyone else feels like a low-bandwidth version of a human being by comparison. But presence is only half of the equation. The second pillar is the concept of the independent orbit. This is where most men fail because they confuse being reliable with being available. There is a massive psychological difference between the two. A reliable man is someone she can count on when it matters. An available man is someone who has nothing better to do. If your schedule is entirely dictated by her whim, you have no gravity of your own. You are simply a moon orbiting her planet. This is inherently unattractive because it signals that you have no mission, no purpose, and no life that excites you more than the prospect of her attention. High-value masculinity is built on the foundation of a mission. When you have a life that is genuinely full, filled with difficult goals, a tight-knit brotherhood of friends, and personal hobbies that challenge you, you naturally create gaps in your availability. These gaps are not games. They are the byproduct of a life well lived. When she asks what you are doing on a Tuesday night and you are actually busy at the gym or working on a side project or out with your friends, she realizes that your world does not start and end with her. This creates a healthy sense of competition in her mind, not with other women, but with your own life. She begins to wonder how she can earn a spot in that limited space you have. If she can access you at any time, your value drops to 0 because of the law of supply and demand. If the supply of you is infinite, the price of you is nothing. By having an independent orbit, you create the space necessary for her imagination to work. Imagination is the primary engine of attraction. When you are away, and she doesn't know exactly what you are doing because you are busy living, her mind starts to fill in the blanks. She thinks about you, she wonders about you, and she begins to weave a narrative of who you are. If you tell her everything and are always there, you kill the mystery. You must allow her the gift of missing you. The third pillar is the mastery of the interaction exit, also known as the peak end rule. Psychological research by Daniel Kahneman has shown that humans judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its peak and how it ended, rather than the total sum of the experience. Most men stay too long at the fair. They have a great conversation, the energy is high, the laughter is genuine, and instead of leaving on that high note, they stay until the conversation runs dry, the energy dips, and a slight awkwardness sets in. They leave when they are both tired and have nothing left to say. Consequently, the memory of the interaction is one of depletion. If you want to create longing, you must have the discipline to end the interaction while it is still fantastic. This is the open loop technique. When you are mid-laugh or after a particularly deep moment of connection, that is when you say, "I've had an incredible time, but I have to get going." It feels counterintuitive. Your instinct is to stay and soak up more of the good feeling. But by leaving, you leave her with a surplus of positive emotion and an unfinished narrative. Her brain will subconsciously want to close the loop by seeing you again. She leaves the interaction feeling energized and wanting more, rather than feeling satisfied and full. A woman who is full doesn't crave more food. A woman who is hungry does. Be the man who leaves her slightly hungry for your presence. This brings us to the fourth pillar, the sound of silence, or the rejection of the constant digital tether. We live in an era of hyper-communication. Most relationships are smothered in their infancy by the sheer volume of mundane texting. Good morning. What are you eating for lunch? How is your meeting? This is not connection. It is surveillance. It is background noise. It turns you into a notification on her phone rather than a man in her life. To make a woman miss you, you must stop being her digital pen pal. When you pull back from the constant stream of meaningless communication, you create a vacuum. In that vacuum, she begins to feel the weight of your absence. She starts to notice the lack of your name on her screen. This isn't about being cold or playing hard to get. It's about valuing your own words. When you only reach out to set a date or to share something of genuine substance, your communication carries more weight. It becomes an event rather than an annoyance. Think of it like a master orator. He doesn't speak constantly. He waits until the room is quiet and then says something that matters. Your digital presence should be the same. Let the silence build. Let her wonder why she hasn't heard from you. Let her be the one to reach out because she has a funny story to tell or because she simply wants to feel your energy again. If you are always the one reaching out, she never has to experience the sensation of wanting to reach out to you. You are robbing her of the opportunity to pursue you, and humans value what they pursue far more than what they are given. Finally, the fifth pillar is precise emotional recognition. This is the secret sauce that separates the high-value man from the average man. Most men give generic compliments. You're pretty, you're smart, you're fun. These have no staying power. They are like water sliding off a window. Precise emotional recognition is the act of noticing something about her that she hasn't explicitly told you or remembering a small detail that everyone else overlooks. It shows that even when you aren't with her, you are a man of depth and observation. For example, instead of saying, "You look nice," you might say, "I love the way your energy changes when you talk about your painting. You become incredibly focused and vibrant." This kind of observation is an anchor. It sticks in her mind because it proves you were paying attention at a level most people don't. It makes her feel uniquely understood. When you are gone, she will replay that comment in her head because it validated a part of her soul, not just her ego. She will miss the man who gets her in a way the rest of the world doesn't. This requires you to actually listen and actually care. It can't be faked. It requires a level of emotional intelligence that most men are too lazy to develop. But for the man who does, he becomes unforgettable. These 5 pillars, radical presence, the independent orbit, the peak end exit, the sound of silence, and precise emotional recognition, are not just tips. They are a philosophy of self-respect. They are about becoming a man who knows his value and doesn't feel the need to beg for validation. When you embody these traits, you aren't making her miss you through trickery. You are simply existing in a way that makes your absence naturally felt. Most men will hear this and think, but what if she forgets me? What if she moves on to someone who is more available? This is the fear-based mindset that keeps you in the average category. The truth is, if a woman's interest is so fragile that it disappears because you aren't texting her every hour, then she was never truly attracted to you in the first place. She was just bored and using you for entertainment. A high-value woman is attracted to a high-value man, and a high-value man has things to do. She respects that. She is drawn to the mystery of his life and the intensity of his focus. She wants to be part of his world, not be his entire world. If you find yourself struggling with this, if you find yourself constantly wanting to reach out and check in, you need to look inward. Why is your internal state so dependent on her response? Usually, it's because you don't have enough going on in your own life. You are using her as a source of dopamine because your own day-to-day existence is dull. This is the hardest, tough love pill to swallow. To be worth missing, you have to have a life worth living. You have to be a man who is chasing something bigger than a relationship. Whether it's your career, your fitness, your art, or your community, you must have a North Star that guides you. When you have that, the 5 pillars we discussed become effortless. You won't have to try to be less available. You will naturally be less available because you're busy conquering your goals. You won't have to try to end interactions early. You'll have to get to bed so you can wake up and get back to work. You won't have to try to be present. You'll value your time so much that you won't waste it being distracted. The shift from a seeker to a leader in your own life is what ultimately creates the attraction. This is the fundamental truth that most dating advice ignores. They give you the what to say without teaching you who to be. But who you are always speaks louder than what you say. If you are a man of high character, deep purpose, and unshakable self-worth, your absence will be felt like a sunset. People notice when the light goes out. They notice when the energy leaves the room. They miss the warmth, the clarity, and the strength that you brought. That is the only kind of missing that matters. Anything else is just anxiety or habit. You want her to miss you because your presence added something unique and powerful to her life that she cannot find anywhere else. So take a step back today. Look at your current dynamic. Are you smothering the flame? Are you acting out of fear or out of power? Start implementing these shifts. Put the phone down. Focus on your mission. Listen with your whole soul when you are with her. And then have the courage to walk away and let the silence do the work. The most powerful thing you can ever do to attract someone is to show them that you are perfectly capable of being happy without them. It is that very independence that makes them want to be the one who finally catches your full attention. This is not about being a jerk or being aloof. It is about being a man of substance. It is about realizing that your attention is a prize, not a participation trophy. When you start treating it that way, she will too. And when she realizes that your attention is something that must be earned through mutual respect and shared experience, she will value it infinitely more. The silence between your meetings won't be a source of anxiety for her. It will be a space of anticipation. She will look forward to the next time she gets to be in your presence because she knows it will be real. She knows she will have your full focus. She knows she will be challenged, and she knows she will leave feeling better than when she arrived. That is the cycle of healthy longing. That is how you build a relationship based on mutual desire rather than mutual neediness. It starts with you. It starts with the man you choose to be when no one is watching. It starts with the discipline to stay on your path, even when you want to deviate for a moment of validation. Build your fortress, cultivate your presence, and let your absence speak for itself. You will find that the more you focus on becoming a man of value, the more the world and the women in it will notice when you aren't there. This is the journey of high-value masculinity. It isn't easy, but it is the only path that leads to genuine, lasting attraction. Now, I want you to really think about the independent orbit concept. Most men think this means just having a job. It's more than that. It's about having an internal world that is so vibrant and interesting that you are never truly alone, even when you're by yourself. It's about having a set of principles that you won't break for anyone. It's about having a vision for your future that is so compelling that a woman would feel lucky to even get a glimpse of it. When you have that kind of internal gravity, you don't need to try to make people miss you. They will naturally gravitate toward you because you represent a source of strength and certainty in an uncertain world. They will miss the feeling of safety and inspiration that your presence provides. Think about the archetypal hero in movies. He doesn't spend his time worrying about if the townspeople miss him while he's off fighting the dragon. He's busy fighting the dragon, and it is precisely because he is out there doing the hard work that he is celebrated and missed when he's gone. Be the man who is fighting his own dragons. Be the man who is building his own kingdom. The longing you desire from her will be a natural byproduct of the respect you have for yourself. It's also important to realize that the peak end rule applies to every form of communication, not just dates. If you're on a phone call, end it while the vibe is great. If you're texting, be the one to send the last positive message and then go do something else. Don't let things drag on until they're boring. Always leave them wanting just 5 minutes more. That 5-minute deficit is where attraction lives. It's the itch they can't quite scratch. It's the reason they check their phone with a smile when they see your name. You are giving them a series of wins and then stepping away before the loss of boredom can set in. This creates a psychological association between you and high-energy positive states. Over time, this builds a powerful emotional bond. She begins to associate you with the best parts of her day. And when you aren't there, she feels a dip in that energy. That dip is what we call missing someone. It's a literal craving for the dopamine hit your presence provides. But remember, if you provide that hit 24/7, she will build a tolerance to it. Just like a drug, the more she has, the less effect it has. You must keep the dosage controlled. You must ensure that every time she sees you, it feels like the first time, fresh, intense, and significant. This is the mastery of absence and presence. It is a dance between being the most important person in her world for a few hours and then being a ghost in her world for a few days. The contrast is what creates the beauty. Without the darkness, we wouldn't appreciate the light. Without the silence, we wouldn't appreciate the music. Without your absence, she can never truly appreciate your presence. This is the fundamental law of the universe, and it applies to your relationships just as much as it applies to physics. So, embrace the space. Don't fear it. Use it as a tool to build a deeper, more meaningful connection. Show her that you are a man who is comfortable in his own skin, a man who is confident in his path, and a man who is worth every second of the wait. If you can do that, you will never have to worry about how to make a woman miss you again. She will miss you because you are a rare find in a world of commonalities. You are a man of depth in a world of superficiality. You are a man of presence in a world of distraction. And that, more than anything else, is what creates a longing that lasts a lifetime. Let's dig deeper into the concept of the digital tether. In our current society, we have been conditioned to believe that connected means close, but often the opposite is true. Constant connection can lead to emotional exhaustion. If you are always available via text, there is never a reboot period for the attraction. You are essentially living in her pocket. This kills the tension. Tension is the space between two objects that are pulling away from each other. If you are always leaning in, there is no tension. There is only pressure, and pressure causes people to push back. When you stop texting constantly, you remove that pressure. You allow the tension to return. You allow her to feel the pull of your absence. This is often when she will start to initiate more. She will send you a funny video or a link to an article or a simple thinking of you text. This is her way of testing the tether, of seeing if you're still there. When this happens, don't rush to respond instantly. Wait until you're actually free. Show her that while you appreciate her reaching out, you're still on your mission. This reinforces your value. It shows that you aren't waiting around for her to validate you. You are a man who is in control of his time. This kind of subtle pulling back is incredibly effective because it triggers a woman's natural desire to pursue. We are all hunters by nature. We value the things we have to work for. If you make it too easy for her, she will eventually get bored and look for a new challenge. By maintaining your independent orbit, you remain a challenge. You remain someone she hasn't quite solved yet. And that mystery is what keeps her coming back. It's what keeps her thinking about you when she's lying in bed at night. She's trying to figure you out. She's trying to see where she fits in your life. And as long as she's trying to figure you out, she's invested in you. The moment she thinks she has you all figured out, that you're just another guy who's obsessed with her, she loses interest. So keep the mystery alive. Don't be afraid to say no to a last-minute plan. Don't be afraid to go a few hours without checking your phone. These aren't games. They are the habits of a man who respects himself and his time. And when you respect yourself, she will have no choice but to respect you too. Respect is the foundation of attraction. You cannot have one without the other. If she doesn't respect your time, your mission, and your boundaries, she will never truly be attracted to you, and she will certainly never miss you. So start by respecting yourself. Start by setting those boundaries. Start by prioritizing your own growth. The rest will follow. You'll find that as you become more successful, more fit, and more grounded, your gravity will naturally increase. You'll find that you don't have to try to be present. Your focus will be a natural result of your discipline. You'll find that you don't have to try to be thoughtful. Your empathy will be a natural result of your emotional maturity. Everything we've talked about today is interconnected. It's all part of the same ecosystem of high-value masculinity. You can't just pick and choose one or two tips and expect them to work. You have to embody the whole philosophy. You have to do the work. It's about the long game. It's about building a life that you are proud of, regardless of who is in it. And ironically, the more you focus on your own life, the more people will want to be a part of it. This is the great secret of attraction. It's not about what you do to them, it's about what you do to yourself. It's about the energy you radiate. If you radiate desperation and neediness, people will stay away. If you radiate strength, purpose, and self-assuredness, people will be drawn to you like a moth to a flame. They will miss your energy when you're gone because it's an energy that is hard to find. It's an energy that makes them feel alive. So go out there and build that life. Be that man. And let the longing be the evidence of your success. Remember, making her miss you is never about causing her pain. It's about giving her the space to realize how much joy you bring to her life. It's about letting her feel the gap so that she can appreciate the fill. It's a beautiful dynamic when done correctly, built on a foundation of mutual value and genuine connection. It's the difference between a shallow fling and a deep, soul-stirring romance. And it all starts with your willingness to be present when you're there and to be gone when you're not.